Oh. Hello there, Whiskers. Come closer, my dear boy. The fire is so lovely and warm, isn't it? Look how the flames dance. It reminds me of a grand story, one about a rather silly emperor and his love for clothes. Would you like to hear it? I thought so. Settle in, my handsome cat, and listen. Once upon a time, in a land not so different from our own, there lived an emperor. But this wasn't just any emperor. Oh no, this emperor cared for one thing above all else, his clothes. He had a different outfit for every hour of the day, and his greatest joy was parading around in his finest silks and velvets. He spent more time in front of his mirror than he did ruling his kingdom. One sunny afternoon, two strangers arrived in the city. They weren't ordinary travelers. They were swindlers, clever and cunning. They heard about the emperor's obsession with fashion and saw an opportunity. They went straight to the palace and announced they were weavers of the most magnificent fabric in the entire world. But this wasn't just any fabric. They claimed it had a magical quality. It was invisible to anyone who was hopelessly foolish or unfit for their job. Imagine that. Whiskers. A cloth that could reveal a person's incompetence. The emperor was overjoyed. What a marvelous idea, he thought. With a suit made from this fabric, I could finally find out who in my kingdom is wise and who is a fool. I must have it. Without a second thought, he gave the swindlers a hefty bag of gold coins and commanded them to start weaving immediately. So the two tricksters set up two grand looms in a special room in the palace. They pretended to thread the needles, they pretended to work the pedals, and they pretended to weave day and night. But, of course, the looms were completely empty. They just went through the motions, all while asking for more silk, more gold thread, and more money, which they secretly pocketed. After a few days, the emperor grew curious. I wonder how my splendid new clothes are coming along, he thought. But he felt a little nervous. What if I can't see the fabric? Does that mean I'm a fool? Perhaps I should send someone else first. So he called for his most trusted and honest old minister. Go to the weavers, the emperor ordered, and tell me how the fabric looks. You are a wise man. You will surely be able to see it. The minister, proud to be chosen, went to the weaver's workshop. He walked in, and his eyes grew wide. He stared at the looms, and saw nothing. Absolutely nothing. His heart sank. Good heavens, he thought to himself. Can it be that I am a fool? Am I unfit to be a minister? I must never let anyone know. The two swindlers pointed to the empty looms. Isn't the pattern exquisite? One asked. And the colors, said the other, are they not divine? The poor minister, not wanting to reveal his stupidity, nodded eagerly. Oh yes, it's magnificent. The most beautiful fabric I have ever seen. He leaned closer, pretending to examine the intricate details of the non-existent cloth. He memorized the descriptions the swindlers gave him and rushed back to the emperor. Your Majesty, he declared, the fabric is beyond compare. The colors are vibrant, and the patterns are truly magical. The emperor was delighted and sent the weavers even more money. A little while later, the emperor sent another trusted official to check on the progress. The same thing happened. The official stared at the empty looms, a cold sweat breaking out on his brow. "Am I unfit for my position?" he worried. So, just like the minister, he pretended to see the beautiful cloth. He returned to the emperor, praising the weaver's incredible skill and the fabric's stunning beauty. The whole city was buzzing with talk of the emperor's magical new clothes. Everyone was desperate to find out how foolish their neighbors were. Finally, the emperor decided he could wait no longer. He had to see this wondrous fabric for himself. Accompanied by a crowd of his most important officials, including the two who had already been there, he went to the workshop. When he entered, the two swindlers were working away at their empty looms with great energy. The two officials who had been there before pointed excitedly. "Just look, Your Majesty. Is it not splendid?" The emperor looked, and he saw nothing. Nothing at all. He felt a terrible shock. "What is this?" he thought. "Am I a fool? Am I not fit to be emperor? This is the most dreadful thing that could ever happen to me." But he couldn't let anyone know. So he put on his most impressed expression. "Oh, it is magnificent!" he exclaimed loudly. "It has my highest approval." He nodded and smiled, peering at the empty looms as if they held the greatest treasure in the world. His entire court, not wanting to be seen as fools, all murmured in agreement, praising the invisible fabric. "We will have it made into a grand suit for the upcoming procession," the emperor declared. The swindlers bowed deeply, promising it would be ready in time. They worked through the night, cutting the air with big scissors and sewing with needles that had no thread. Finally, the day of the grand procession arrived. The swindlers came to the emperor's chambers. "Your Majesty's new clothes are ready," they announced. They held up their hands as if holding a shirt. "Here are the trousers, here is the coat, and here is the magnificent cloak. They are as light as a spider's web. One might almost feel as if one has nothing on at all, but that is the beauty of it." All the courtiers nodded. Indeed, marvelous. The emperor took off all his clothes, and the swindlers pretended to dress him, piece by invisible piece. They fussed over the fit, adjusted the imaginary collar, and tied a non-existent sash. The emperor turned and looked at himself in the mirror. He saw himself standing there in his underclothes, but he told himself he was seeing a glorious new suit. "It fits perfectly," he declared. The grand procession began. The emperor walked proudly under a beautiful canopy, and his courtiers walked behind. Pretending to hold up the long train of his invisible cloak, the people of the city lined the streets, all of them aware of the fabric's magical property. No one wanted to admit they couldn't see anything for fear of being called a fool. "Oh, the emperor's new clothes are gorgeous." One person shouted. "What a wonderful pattern," cried another. "Look at the fit, it's perfect." Everyone cheered and applauded, each one more loudly than the last, trying to prove how clever and competent they were. Never had the emperor's clothes been such a success. But then a small child in the crowd, too young and innocent to understand the pretense, pointed a tiny finger and said in a clear, loud voice, "But he isn't wearing anything at all." A hush fell over the crowd. The boy's father tried to quiet him, but it was too late. One person whispered to another, "Did you hear what the child said? He's not wearing anything." The whisper spread like wildfire, and soon the whole crowd was murmuring, "The child is right. He's naked." The emperor heard them. He shivered, because he knew in his heart that they were right. But it was too late. He had come this far. To admit the truth now would be the ultimate humiliation. So he drew himself up even taller, put his nose in the air, and continued to walk. And his courtiers continued to walk behind him, holding the imaginary train that wasn't there at all, as their emperor paraded through the city, proud and utterly foolish. As for the two swindlers, well, they were long gone. They had taken their gold and disappeared, laughing all the way to the next town, leaving a very embarrassed emperor in their wake. And that, my dear Whiskers, is the story of the emperor's new clothes. A good lesson about pride, isn't it? There now. The fire is getting low. Time for a little nap, I think. Thank you for listening. My sweet friend, if you enjoyed our story time, don't forget to like this video and follow our channel for more tales by the fire. We'll see you again soon. Good night.